Hi everyone, and welcome to the 16th and last lesson of RTB 101, Introduction to Audio and Video Editing. In the last lesson, we completed our commercial project. And if you made it all the way through these lessons and did all the work, you should be proud of yourself and your commitment to these online courses. Believe me, not everyone can do what you just did. So we have this movie loaded, and I'm sure you'd like to see it. So we're going to just double click on this icon here in front of the file. And by the way, you'll notice that this icon is a little strip of film with a little green waveform in front of it and to the right. That's to let you know that this file is a video clip and it has audio attached. Just double click on this icon, and now you'll see the video clip appears in the source monitor above at the first frame of the video. Below the image, you'll see a set of buttons that will allow you to control the source monitor. Some of these buttons are going to be familiar to you, like this start button, while others, like these, may not be. Suffice it to say right now that the start button will start and stop the video, and so let's go ahead and check it out.
No big box store, no warehouse store does kitchens like Kitchens, Baths, and more.
Now if we stop this, you can see that the video, as it plays, has this yellow indicator that moves from left to right or from the beginning to the end of the clip. You can always just grab this time indicator and pull it back and forth on the timeline like this to see all or parts of the clip, and then tapping the M key to insert the marker. This way, if we move something by accident, we'll be able to quickly find this frame again. Now let's go up to Title in the Menu tab, click on it, drop down to New Title, then over to Default Still, and click here. You'll see this window open up, which will ask us about the size settings, and we'll just let Premiere decide the size for the current sequence space. We will name this title though, so type in 50%. Now click OK. Now you'll see a title interface or panel pop up. You can see that it's named 50%, and there's lots of tools and whatnots available here for us to use. It may look a little daunting, but it's pretty straightforward. The first thing I want to show you is this area with the checkered board pattern. Whenever you see a checkered board pattern in an Adobe product, it means that the area is transparent. As you can see in this special sequence that I've created, I have 3 layers of video. If I expand the video tracks by hovering over the track just to the left of the timeline and scroll with my scroll wheel on my mouse, you'll see I have a white rectangle, and above it a blue square, and on the third track I have a red circle. I made these shapes in the title panel. You can find them in the toolbar if you'd like to experiment later. As I scrub down the timeline, you'll see that the first rectangle appears. And that makes sense because it's the first on the timeline. If I scrub a little further, the blue square appears, and you can see that it's placed over the rectangle. And finally, if I scrub just a little bit more, the red circle appears, and it's placed over the blue square. As you can see, the order of these shapes as we see them in our monitors looking inwards is the circle appears first, and it blocks a portion of the square, which in turn covers a part of the rectangle. Now that's the nature of layering in video tracks. The top track will supersede any tracks below it. Remember, we're going to be setting the last keyframe first and the first keyframe last. To do that, I'll click on this stopwatch icon for each of the controls I just adjusted. So I'll click on Position, then Scale, and finally Rotation. When I do, you'll see these icons appear. These are the keyframes that represent these points that are set in time, and you can see the time here. Notice the time indicator here. If I slide this to the left or to a point earlier in time before these keyframes, you'll notice that the time indicator on the timeline moved as well to the beginning of the clip. Right now, we're going to go to a different workspace that will allow us to make these track adjustments more easily. So let's go up to Windows in the menu bar, click it, go over to Workspace, and then to Audio, and choose it. You'll now see your workspace change, and it'll give us these volume controls for each track. I'll go over to each and change the name of each track to better describe what's being controlled. I'll change them to VO, and then Music. Once you've submitted your discussion points, along with your project, you're free to move on to the next series of courses. One final comment: I've been teaching editing for many years, and the one thing I see all the time is that students that are new to these skills will take too long a break before they start a new project of their own making. This time off is not necessarily in your best interest. You'll be surprised how quickly you forget some of the shortcuts or even where to click if you take an extended break. My advice: don't wait. Seize the moment. The more you work on this software, the quicker it becomes second nature and the less you'll forget between projects.